That wasn't too bad, right? You're gonna rate it a 5 with me, I hope. Please give me a hand and welcome me back to the stage the director, Tom Beringer, and the producer of the film, Craig Charland.
Thanks for sticking around. Yeah.
This was combining my two passions, going to the movies and drinking. So what a fantastic venue! I really
we were across the street drinking a beer while you guys watch the movie. So, but I think apparently you guys been drinking here too. So.
What about your allergy?
What's that?
What about your allergy?
I know. Well,
I'm looking after it. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I forgot to say this before, but I don't know if any metalheads are in the audience, but I just want to give a shout out to Jeff Hanneman of Slayer, who passed away today. And I listened to him 100 times making this movie. So, anyways, sad day for metalheads. But anyways, yeah.
We are going to open up the floor to questions, so just make sure to raise your hand nice and high. We're going to try and get to everyone. I'm going to repeat back the question just to make sure everyone hears, and then you will get an awesome answer. So are there any questions in the audience? At the back right there.
The band's manager expressed concern about wanting to see the footage. Did you have struggles with her or with the bands? Did they influence the final product?
So the band's manager had some concerns about the footage. Did you have any struggles with her or any?
No, not in the last about 8 months. No, actually, she didn't see the movie until about 4 months before you see it here. And also, even the band didn't really see it for a good 1.5 years, almost 2 years, and they were really willing and giving of their time, but they just didn't know what I was exactly making, and they were starting on a new album, and they're like, let's just put it out. I mean, they had no idea what I was making until they saw a really, really rough cut, and then they said, okay, we get it. Go ahead, take your time. And the band manager, Dawn, she got it too. She was, but they were just, it was, I was being paid to do tour, to be a crew member, but I was doing a lot of this stuff, and they were a little concerned about what are we paying for, here, and but we're all very happy, obviously, with it now. Yeah.
Right there.
I really enjoyed your film. That was good fun.
Thank you.
And if we were to say that your brother Matt kind of could remind us of he could be like an American Gord Downie, would you know what we were talking about?
Did you say an American Gordon Lightfoot?
Gord Downie.
I don't know. Craig, do you know?
No, I don't. I think who's this kid? Can someone Google that for me right now? Tragically hip. Is your brother tragic?
Oh, yes, he is tragic.
I would say this.
That is a band, right? Tragically hip? Yeah.
I would say this. I would say we always love the fact that Matt and Tom were at different phases of adulthood. They met later on, but Matt is actually much more funnier than we cut him to be. Anytime he was good and charming in the film, we're like, let's cut that. Let's make him just the straight guy, and let's bury that footage under the floorboards of the cutting room. So we did have a selective sort of view of Matt, but there is something to say about the dynamic between you and your brother and how he was sort of always an older brother in a way that sometimes was right, sometimes was unfair, but was mostly humorous. So.
And also, I just want to say, Brandon Reed, the tour manager and front of house sound guy, we really, really destroyed his image with this movie. And he's a fellow Canadian. He lives in Toronto here. He's a great guy. We really kind of vilified him in the movie through editing. And if anybody knows him here, that I am sorry. But we needed a Darth Vader. So.
Although he has these awesome tattoos, but he's also kind of
he is tough. He is all business, which I am not all business.
As a business person, I agree with that.
Right there, yeah.
When did your sister-in-law become part of the editing process?
So when did your sister-in-law become part of the editing process?
About as soon as kind of I got fired and I left home or went back home, and at that point in time, Corinne saw a lot of the footage, and even Marshall Curry, the documentarian, he was a good friend with my brother for a long time. He also saw some early footage, and they both really saw what was happening and saw that there actually is something here if we can't use all of my goofball moments with the guys. I had them, stand up, stand down, and because I really was trying to make something funny, but also trying to make them look cool, but it couldn't be a full-length movie, a real movie with just goofball monkeys moments. And she about a year ago, she got involved, and a little over a year ago, and she was the one that really kind of pulled out a lot of my less than great moments in the movie, and thought that they were like the strongest. And there's in particular one of the scene that I'm really kind of crying in. I had that unloaded in the hard drive for another like 6 months before, and we were editing for a long time, and then I said like that remember that scene, when I was talking about a crying scene? I really actually do have that, and I haven't looked at it because I'm afraid to look at it because it's just I don't like to watch myself cry, and it was about 15 minutes long, and she was able to take a nice little piece of it. She's like, actually this is good, and she's along with Craig and Marshall Curry, she was a set of outside eyes that really helped sculpt the movie, and she has a great sense of story and timing. And also, and Craig, coming from narratives, you were able to kind of help sculpt some of the things too a little bit.
Yeah, I always tried to keep it a little more gray and dark. I should say the next project I want to do is make existential cartoons for 6-year-olds for them to feel the weight of the world at a young age, because I believe in that. But I know, there was always something very interesting about your struggle, and I felt like he was always living out. I was a huge National fan, so between Tom and I, there was one huge National fan. And I thought he was living out a lot of the themes of the band and their songs, and I just thought that was insanely interesting as a band, and I thought we were exploring that in those early stages, and so we'd always skew toward that, and a little more gray and dark and a little more struggle, and it was always a test of how indulgent is this versus how interesting and compelling and relatable is this, and we got overwhelming feedback that it was relatable and it was interesting, and that that was the true heart of the story.
And actually, to be honest, it was when he told me that he saw so many themes that were within my brother's music. That was such a turnoff at first. It was just I'm what? I'm this is I don't want this to be it was, but the more I kind of didn't want to go in that direction, the more it became that movie. And I do see the beauty in it, and I do really enjoy my brother's music, and I'm sure I might get that question, but I am a kind of a fan. And I listen to it's great music, and I'm so proud of him. But it's when you told me, I'm really? I don't want to be associated with this. I want to make my own movie.
Don't worry, whenever you try to sing his music, I don't even recognize it, because I'm on a blood buzz. Yes, I am.
Right here in the front.
Now that the movie's over, how are you doing in Girlfriend and Dishes?
So now that the film's over, how are you doing with Girlfriend and Dishes?
Neither. I've been working on this movie nonstop for 3 years, and I've been living in my brother's garage and editing and editing and editing and editing, and no time for fun. I'm making a movie here, and that's personal. I'm not going to say that.
Right here.
I guess my question is less about the movie, more about your recent success. How was Brunch with Mr. Chimaera?
How was Brunch with Mr. Chimaera? And that's a reference to you guys premiering your film at Tribeca recently, so how was that?
Well,
We forgot about Tribeca.
yeah, I don't want to talk about
Sucks.
it. Rebecca was great, and he's a man of few words, and really, he really is. But I guess the funniest thing is when I was taking pictures with him on this crazy red carpet, he does do this cheese. Like, he's like, look, he just, everybody say cheese, and that's what he does. He says cheese. Walking photographers, and I just kind of shit the pants.
We're going to take one in the balcony right there at the front.
You're taking a break now, I'm guessing, after doing this for 3 years, but going forward with a background of horror films, and now having done a doc, do you see this as a path being open to you, that's something that you'd like to do?
So, having a horror film focus and background, but now having done this doc, what do you see yourselves going forward? Does this open up a new path for you?
Yeah, I never thought I'd be making a doc, or I mean, I never thought I would even be a subject of a doc, and but I don't know. I really do want to still get into fiction movies, and I have a couple ideas, and you know, I made a short movie about Johnny Appleseed after I made the horror movies, trying to like depart from the horror movie element because I do like other movies as well. And I always kind of wanted to go back to the Johnny Appleseed story because I think it's a great idea. I really do. He was kind of this crazy guy on the frontier, and like that's kind of my. I do have an idea about that. He's kind of a hero of mine, but
The Don Juan of the frontier, right?
he was
a ladies' man.
He was a ladies' man, as well as a drunk. So we kind of got that going for us. Yeah, I don't know. Those horror movies I made were in college, and you know, I loved all different types of movies, but I just felt like, I don't know, the movie you saw there was like inspired, not just by horror, but by Werner Herzog's, you know, Aguirre, Wrath of God, and there's a movie called Quest for Fire about cavemen by Jean-Jacques Annaud. It's an awesome movie, but also I added the horror elements, and at a time I had a passion for the VHS, like the movies I watched as a kid, like Media Entertainment and Vidmark Entertainment, these like cheeseball VHS movies, and I shot that movie in 4:3 on purpose because I just wanted to get that old VHS quality, and so that was kind of a little more. There was a little more to it than just a gory movie, but I do have a desire to make the craziest, scariest movie ever made. I don't know if I could ever make that, but when I was a kid, I wanted to make Heaven and Hell, movie Heaven versus Hell. And when I was a kid, I wanted to, I just thought it'd be really cool. It was the most expensive movie ever made. Not realizing making the most expensive movie ever made is probably not the best idea. But.
Right there in the back.
What's your relationship like with your sister?
What's your relationship like with your sister?
She's great, and she's okay with not being in the movie. She lives in Seattle, and we're really close. Like our whole family's very close, but she really wasn't in very much of my footage, and we tried to get her in. To be honest, it's being like, it was one of these hard things that we had to cut her out of the scenes. But as I say, you know, I do make this joke that I will someday make a sequel about my sister who's not in a band, who's also not in the movie. So there's always hope.
Right here.
I really liked your artwork, and I was wondering if you're doing anything further with that, like maybe animation or titles for your films or something.
Thank you.
It was a compliment to your artwork. And are you doing any work with animation or sequence or anything artistic?
No. Those drawings you saw were about. I did this in high school. I think I really haven't drawn for a long time and really out of practice. But I think that was an early passion of mine. You know, I've been. No, thank you. No, maybe I don't know.
Back right there.
What type of cameras did you use to shoot the doc?
What kind of cameras did you use to shoot the doc?
A Canon Vixia, MF. It's a award run. A little. What's that? Oh, sorry. I had this. It's like a little tiny like prosumer camera, and I wore it on my neck the whole time because we really didn't have any permission in a lot of these places, and it was so inconspicuous that I just shot, and no one really gave a damn. And yeah, it's a great, it still works. It's a great little camera, and it was through every single shot in there was on a Canon Vixia, and including when I was able to get some friends to shoot some big live shows, like multiple cameras, all Canon Vixias. Just obvious, but it's a good camera. If anybody's from Canon here, good camera.
Right there on the side, Matt.
When you set out to make this rock documentary, did you have any idea that you were going to emerge as the central character of the film? Like, was that part of an original narrative frame, or?
So when you set out to make this rock documentary, did you know that you were going to emerge as a central character, that the focus would change?
No, I didn't set out. I went on tour. Obviously, I was asked, and I knew that I had to do something. I just wanted to make a reel or just get my name associated with the band. I mean, I also wanted to be part of the band a little bit. That's why I was just filming myself. But I didn't think that would ever be used. Maybe I just wanted to give myself a face if you hear my voice behind the camera. But I really just wanted, early on, I just wanted to maybe make some web content, video web content, or like an extra on their special edition CD, like a video extra. Originally, that's all was my intention, is to get my name out there, and I did stuff for the National, and hire me for video work. But no, I certainly, it was only about a little over a year ago when I had people told me to put myself in the movie a lot more.
So we have time for one last burning question. Anyone right there in the balcony at the front?
What other artists would you like to work with if you were to go back on tour as a filmmaker?
So if you were to go back to work as a filmmaker, what other artists would you want to work with?
As in like a music artist?
As in like you were to go on tour in a film.
Well, I really like, there's the metal. I mean, I really like High on Fire. That's a great metal band. I'd like to just tour with them. But he's quit smoking and drinking and drugging, so I don't know. There's probably not much content there. The lead singer has really problems. But there's I don't know. There's a music in here by the band named Lord Weird Slough Fag, which is F-E-G at the end. And they're a great San Francisco metal band, been around for like 15 years, play old school meat and potatoes, heavy metal. And these guys are legendary. I'd love to make a doc on them. Yeah. Or Cobalt, if anybody likes really heavy stuff. Cobalt's a great band too.
Not the National or not an indie rock, is that right?
I didn't know, but I'd have to do a lot of research.
So unfortunately that is all the time we have left. Before we go, I want to remind you guys there's a third screening of this film. I believe it's this weekend. So tell your friends if you love the movie. Please vote if you love the film. Vote generously. Keep the film on top.
Oh, I was going to say that I'm just going to be across the street at that Paupers, if anybody.
And also, I love that you guys clap for the volunteers, and we want to thank the volunteers again. I'm sure they're still there. So I love it.
Thank you so much for coming out. We hope you had a great time, and maybe you'll join us across the street. Have a good night.